All right. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Downtown Brantford Business Improvement Area Board of Management meeting, September 19th, 2024. Now, have you done the roll call?
Yes, I have.
All right. I just have to start out with one point of business, and we've been requested to review a part of the Robert's Rules, and this relates to speaking opportunities. Just to remind everyone that you have one speaking opportunity, the first round around, you have 10 minutes to speak. That's not conversation back and forth, that's just you speaking. And then everyone has a second opportunity to speak. So we're trying to avoid conversation back and forth and just make your point. And if someone's responding to your point, then they will also have an opportunity to speak. Okay. The agenda, and I have a motion to approve the agenda for today. Ashish, seconder, Carrie.
Second.
And all in favor?
All in favor.
Carrie, thank you. All right. Any declarations of conflict of interest? All right, seeing none. Delegations, we're going to go right to Danielle from ADS Media Contacts. Good morning, Danielle.
Hello, how are you all today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Sorry, coming from another hotel room this morning. As per usual, I'm actually in London this week, but really appreciate you taking the time to hear our proposal. I had sent a link to actually a sample directory from our Windsor program where we feature the Windsor Downtown BIA there. I'm not sure if you have had a chance to kind of click around and see how that works.
I haven't had a chance to share it yet. Sorry.
Okay. So then as a quick overview, I work with a company called Ads Media Solutions. We are based out of St. Catharines, and we do the in-room guest directory and front desk referral program for hotels all across Canada. So in Brantford, we have 7 partners. We work with the Town Place Inn and Suites, the Hampton Inn and Suites, the Comfort Inn, the Days Inn, the Best Western, the Holiday Inn, and the Home 2 Suites. So really all of the large sort of branded properties in the city. And what our platform allows is we used to, for almost 30 years, provide the physical binders you would find located in the guest rooms. Those have gone away since COVID. We've relaunched at the tail end of 21 to a fully digitized program. So at the front desk, as well as in each of the hotel rooms, the guest rooms, the directories are accessed via QR codes. So guests will scan with their phone. The directory will come up and bring up that's things like pool hours, gym hours, check-in and check-out times, television programming, all of that sort of things. And then right from that landing page, you'll see a clickable button that will bring you to recommended around town. Into the around town, that's the directory portion of the directory. We have various categories where you'll have dining, shopping, services. And what I would like to do is I put together some special packages for the program, including a 3 hotel package for $12.30. And I wanted to offer the BIA 7 hotels for that 3 hotel special package price, as well as a 50% off custom category button, which will, in addition to featuring the BIA in all of the relevant business categories, dining, shopping, services, you'll also have a Discover Downtown button that will link directly to the Downtown BIA site, or if you want to do your events page or things like that. So that way, when guests are visiting town, the BIA itself, as well as your member businesses, are friend-centered people who are actively looking for things to do and places to go while they're visiting the city.
Okay, thank you, Danny.
You're welcome.
All right, this is your opportunity. Does anyone have a question for Danny? Go ahead, Sean.
Wondering, like, when it comes to, we'll say, downtown restaurants or restaurants
Yep.
in general, are they not listed by default already?
No, the directories are a advertising opportunity in the hotels. And while I was in Brantford, so we have a week or so in each market, so we visit there. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't have a lot of time to spend directly with the downtown businesses, as it's a little further away from the kind of, I guess, hotel district in Brantford, which is specifically why I thought for this year, perhaps one of the best values for you, for the guests, as well as for your members, was to do a collective feature. And that way, when we come in and do the program next year, we'll have already some analytics on viewership of kind of who was in the directory. But if we're seeing specific businesses that were like, yeah, I saw people come in kind of because they found us through the BIA and through your directory of kind of local downtown shopping, it'll be a way for them to see if an individual feature would be of even more additional value for them.
Okay.
And what's nice about the featuring the BIA specifically, just like I do with the downtown Windsor BIA, is it will also call attention to special events that you guys put on that help to draw people downtown and draw people to the member businesses. And because it's digital, the feature space is custom, but each feature space will also directly link to calling your website, your socials, Google Maps, and things like that. So while the feature art will stay, the links will stay absolutely up to date for the exact time that people are visiting the city.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Annette.
So if the BIA moves forward with this, the cost is going to be 1,480 before HST, correct?
Yes, and that will include your feature in all 7 hotels. So you'll have 4 hotels kind of complimentary this year. And then typically to do a custom category button where in categories alongside dining, shop, services, room delivery, out and about, and things like that, we'll have our downtown Brantford button for you. Normally those custom buttons are 500, and I've done a 50% off discount for you, so it should show you this year.
Okay. Did everybody get that? I know that you're, Danny, you're breaking up just a little bit, but.
Oh, I
No, that's
apologize.
okay. Just, and sometimes you're frozen, just to let you know. All right.
No.
Okay, any further questions on this? Okay, if you have any further questions, I know that Annette may have some of the answers if our meeting carries on and we need to discuss this after. Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you, Danny. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
Thank you, you as well. All right, we're going to go ahead to our consent items. 5.1, that the minutes be approved for August 8th Board of Management meeting. May I have a motion? Sean, someone to second? Dave, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, yeah, call the vote. All in favor? And carried, thank you. All right, and the following reports, and we bundle these. The executive director's report for August and September. And I always remind you to have a good read of that because it gives you a great view of what we've been accomplishing for the last couple of months. And the August 1st BIA executive minutes. And so a motion to receive. Dave, thank you. Seconder? Ashish, thank you. All in favor? And carried. Thank you very much. All right. So we'll go to 6.1 ads media contract. Annette, what did you have in mind for us to discuss at this point?
So we had discussed this at the executive meeting, I think back in August. or maybe July. And there was a lot of questions, so Danny was invited to attend, answer questions, and then it was going to be up to the board whether to move a motion to approve this or not go forward with this.
Okay, all right. So perhaps we can just put this aside as an information piece this morning from Danny, and then discuss it at again at the executive level, and then bring it back to the board, or is this time consuming?
This was time sensitive, and that's
sensitive.
why we had invited her to come today to hopefully make the decision whether to move forward. We've been
Okay.
waiting on this for a couple months now.
All right, so we need a motion to put this on the floor. If we're going to consider it. Sandra, are you making the motion to put it on the floor? Okay, and do you have a seconder? And Ashish, okay, all right, so go ahead, Sandra.
I just would like to see that the one that we sent of Windsor, if you could send that around to us.
I think Annette just did.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And all right, Carrie, do you have a question? Yeah. Carrie, you're muted. You can't, if she can't figure it out. Okay, hold on. Maybe I can help. No, you're not on mute. Okay. Maybe figure that out and come back to us, Carrie. Okay, any other discussion? So we have a motion on the floor to pay $1,480 plus GST for this initial agreement with ADS Media Contact. So there's no other discussion. Go ahead, Sean.
She, in her presentation, she said that, you know, that the hotels are not near the downtown core. And I know that, at least for myself, when I travel, I don't explore like further away from the hotel than I generally need to. Unless, you know, there's a destination that we're going to, you know, say we're going to a museum or whatever, you know, then obviously. But with all the hotels being King George Road, Linden Park Mall area, that type, or even the ones out on Oak Park, like I don't see people looking at the directory and then deciding to come downtown. That's my thoughts, you know, so.
Lizanna, did you have your hand up? Sorry, Dave. No, okay, Dave, go ahead.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Speaking to that, I think that Sean is correct. However, we do have the Sanderson Center and the casino, both in the core. So when you're traveling to the core and you know those two venues are there, you're going to want to know what else is around it. And we do have lots of restaurants and other entertainment venues. So I think it's important. That's my opinion.
Carrie, can you hear?
Yes. Can
Carrie?
you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Okay. I was
Okay,
gonna
sorry.
suggest that
I
you go to
figured
chat
it
if
out.
not. Yeah.
I found the button. So if we have a link downtown Brantford, if none of the businesses pay for individual ads, then our link for downtown will just go to our downtown Brantford website. Is that the case? Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
Which right now is not really the best website or setup to go to. I don't know. Our website isn't the best, so to send people there and have them have to navigate that. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think
Excuse me,
until,
Ed, sorry, okay. Go ahead, Ed.
sorry. Yeah, I would agree with all of those things. I think until the BIA website is configured properly and has like a directory in itself that refers to each of us, that might not be super effective for each of the individual businesses.
Okay, thank you. All right, so what I'm hearing is that our website isn't good enough. So the consensus may be that maybe not this year. Let's get our website up to date and then do this. Is that what we're thinking? I
How
see nodding.
long?
Just a minute, Ed.
I'm sorry.
I'm seeing nodding of heads. Okay, so not to belabor this because people do have to run. And I know that it's an expense. We do have the money in the budget. My final opinion is that maybe we should try this and work on our website to see what's wrong with it. And if all of you could, who feel that there's a problem, send that to Annette, what you feel is the problem for the website, and we'll get our website managers to work on it. But in the meantime, we're going to miss this opportunity. So having said that, I'm going to, oh, no, you've already spoken, Carrie. Sorry.
Okay, I was just gonna make a motion.
Oh, excellent.
I was going to
There's
make the
already a motion
that-
on the table.
There-
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
Yeah.
okay,
right. There's a motion on the table.
all right. Let's vote
It's
on
been, I'm sorry, yes, and now we're in the discussion part, and so we're going to call the vote. Okay, so all in favor of advertising with ADS and spending the amount of $1,480 plus GST for this year, and I won't add putting on the website. We'll deal with that. Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3. Keep your hands up, please. Sorry. 1.
Sorry, if they're related,
Four.
how long would it
I'm-
take to get ours
I'm
fixed?
sorry, Ed. I'm sorry, Ed. We're taking a vote. Okay. Keep your hands up, please. I'm sorry. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Does that carry, Annette? I have 5.
It does, but can you ask if anybody is a nay, just so I have
I'm going to
that
say
on the
yes.
record as well?
Anybody opposed? Okay, 2. 2
I'm
opposed.
just more of like a waiting kind of thing. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just with
You
Carrie.
have to vote, Ed. Do you have to vote yes or no?
How many are there that are yays? How many are nays?
I have 5 in favor and 2 against so far.
Okay. I guess for now.
Or what are you voting for, Ed?
Oh, nay for now.
Nay for now. Okay, well, all
If we
right.
can bring it up.
So
at
that's
another
5
point.
in favor or 3 against? 3 opposed? Okay, but the motion carries. All right, thanks, everyone. All right, we're going to jump ahead to 6.3 because people have to leave. We have a motion from the beautification group, and that's you, Sean. Could you read the motion?
That the DBBIA Board of Management approve up to $5,000 to create 50 more Christmas trees, install and take down as per all day breakfast invoice from 2023. Funds to be taken from decorations.
Okay, you have a seconder. Dave, thank you. Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call, oh, sorry, Counselor Samuel, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say if this is the same Christmas trees that you guys did before where the businesses all participated, I thought that was a really innovative idea, and I liked how it had everybody engaged. So I think it's a great idea to do that again.
Excellent, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll take the vote. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, okay, that's carried. Annette, anyone opposed? I'm sorry. I'm not used to doing opposed. No one, okay. Thank you. All right, and we're also going to jump ahead to 6.4, which is the action plan recommendation from the executive committee. Carrie, could you read this motion for us, please? Six point four.
Sorry, Barbara, I don't have the agenda open.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth, Lizanna.
I'm sorry.
Could you read 6.4, please?
Okay. That the BIA Board of Management approved the governance section of 2024 action plan.
Okay. We have a seconder? Carrie, thank you. All right, any discussion about the governance section, which was provided to you several pages long? Annette and I went through this with a fine-tooth comb, and the executive went through it. And we feel that we came up with the best product for board governance. And it's all part of our 2024 action plan. I hope you've had a chance to read it. It can be a little dry, but it's important. And wanting to know if there's any more discussion on this. And go ahead, Dave. Oh, you're muted, Dave.
Yeah, I just noticed there was a spelling error. It says credit car instead of credit card.
Oh,
It's a D.
thank you.
And also I noticed there's the wording was in reference to bumping up pay. And I just thought that was an awkward phrase. That should be increase instead of bumping. And I don't have that open. Well, I can probably find it where that is. I did have it open earlier.
I can find that. I can just do a word search and find that.
Yeah, they're very close and think the same, similar paragraph. And I felt bumping up was just an awkward phrase.
It is awkward. I don't even remember seeing that.
Yeah, the recommendation was for a bump up in pay for the, I believe.
That's not right.
Something like that. It was bump, and it's like, well, you wouldn't say bump in a
No.
document like that.
So much for the fine tooth comb.
Sorry.
Okay. So with that, you know, we can make those changes, absolutely. Excuse me. All right, any further discussion? All right, seeing none, can I take the, I'm sorry, did Mr. Yu have a discussion on this? Daniel?
No, we're good
Oh.
to move ahead.
Oh.
I was just gonna message you that we have to leave a little bit early today.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. All right. Okay, so where are we? All right, we're gonna take the vote. All in favor? Okay, anyone opposed? All right, seeing none, carried, thank you. Ed, did you vote? I didn't see your hand. Yes, okay. We have to vote. Everyone either votes for against, or against. All right. 6.5. Excuse me. I'm coming back to the other one, 6.2. After 5 event recommendation from the executive committee. Lizanna, could I ask you to do this one again since Carrie's having trouble?
That the BIA Board of Management approve up to $750 to be used as a facilitate Downtown Connect drop-in event for the membership and the board of the BIA, funds to be taken from special projects. Details include booking the back room at Hudson Public, the BIA covering the cost of appetizers and 2 drinks, and that the developers of the Fresco Plaza be invited to give updates on the status of the development. Repender to hand deliver printed invitations to all downtown businesses.
Okay, could I have a seconder for this? Dave, thank you. And any discussion? All right, Sandra, go ahead.
That when we go door to door, I think we're gonna miss the property owners. So is there any way we can also get a mailing to the property owners?
Yes, I think that's assumed. We would be doing that. It's just to hand deliver an invitation to hopefully make that special enough that people would attend. Sean?
My only question is this a one-time event? Is this an ongoing thing so that we can get regular updates or?
Okay, this is an event to like a business after 5. And we can decide at any time whether we want to hold a next one. But this is an opportunity to for membership to meet the board members, meet any counselors who are in attendance, and to to mingle among themselves. Annette.
Was Sandra making a suggestion that we do a mail out to the whole membership because we would have to increase the cost substantially?
Sandra, would you like to respond to that?
You're inviting specifically one building owner, one developer, and I think you need to invite the people who are actually again paying the levy. Which the people in there that are renting surely are, but to have this without the, I guess, the true like the members, I think will be a mess. I assume too, like Barbara said that, that would automatically be done.
Through email. They won't receive a handwritten invitation.
No, oh, okay,
because most of them are out of town.
But I meant an email or something to the
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
That-
but just
Is that something that can't be done in that?
yes, we'll do an email to everyone, but the point was to make the eye-to-eye, hand-to-hand contact with our board, with our membership
Well, and
on the street.
And this is to invite them. That's all I'm saying, is that make sure that the property owners who will not be getting the ones with Rapender coming around, they probably won't be meeting because a lot of them are not in the building. So I would just like to see an email or some sort of invitation go to the actual property owners.
Go ahead, Annette.
I don't have emails for property owners. I don't even know who a lot of the property owners are, other than a numbered company. Whenever we've done a mass mailing, let's say for the AGM, which is looking like is going to be 1 month after this event, I would do a mass mailing. And there's a cost for that. Envelopes, printing, postage, things like that. So the only people I can reach via email, and it's not 100%, are the business owners.
Okay. All right, so let me, oh, go ahead, Karen.
What was the date, sorry, that we picked? I know the date was changed from what we originally said.
What is the date in it?
I think it's October 16th, isn't it?
It was looking like October 16th, which would be less than a month before our AGM.
Yeah, okay, that's a Wednesday, right?
Okay, so we're talking about having a get-together, social get-together, with a budget of up to $750 on, the date, I believe, is the 16th. Any further discussion? Dave, go ahead.
I'm just trying to understand the intent of the event. So it's a after 5 event, social gathering. You're going to invite the developers of the Fresco Plaza to speak. If you were to invite all of the owners, would this not complicate things to possibly make it a difficult event where people could be, who are opposed to this may, it could get a little, not, there's a potential for hostility. I just don't know if that's the intent of the event. The event is to make it like, this is to make people feel comfortable who live in the core of what, put them in the know. Is that not my understanding?
Go ahead, Annette. I'll let her answer that.
Yeah.
I've had a brief discussion with the developers and it's actually looking like they might not be able to attend depending on where in the process this is with city council. They don't feel comfortable coming unless some other things have happened. So there's a chance that they might not be able to come anyway. But this is the motion that came forward from the executive. So that's why it is the way it is on the agenda.
I think that's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Any other first time around? Okay. All right, let's take the vote. All in favor of having a social event at Hudson's? Sandra, you have a second? I'm sorry, Sandra still has a question.
I did. Yes, with what Dave said, I totally agree. I think that inviting, and hopefully they do not come, I think inviting a developer shows quite a bias. And then especially when we're not really inviting anybody else, so which I'd like to see in future events at the property owners. So you're purposely inviting one property owner and we're not able to invite any of the other property owners. So I do think that's a bit of a problem.
Okay, thank you. All right. Councillor Samuel.
Yeah, so I guess I just, with all of the commentary, I just wanted to ask if the intent was more to have a topic that might be of interest to people to learn about by having the Fresco developers there to speak to that project. And would there not be opportunity in the future that as other properties are going to be developed or things like that are happening in the downtown, that the next networking event could be a different speaker? And this is just kind of the first of the ones that you guys have chosen to do. Is that kind of correct? I guess is my question.
Absolutely correct. Thank you. All right. Okay, may I call the vote now? All in favor of having this social event? Okay, Ed, you have to vote. Yes or no? You're opposed?
Yeah, nay also, until just from what I've heard, it doesn't that sound like, unless there's a specific agenda behind it, I don't see how a meet and greet would be beneficial. That's
Okay,
yeah.
all in favor, I'm sorry, carried, and one opposed. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, we're going to go back to 6.2, I think, Annette, unless we need approvals of other, oh no, we don't need financial approvals for anything else there. Right, Annette?
We do.
Oh, which one? I'm sorry.
6.7 is financial,
Oh, 6.7. Okay, let's pop up.
but I
to
mean,
that.
6.6 is for our board or AGM,
Oh,
so.
no, let's just keep going. So 6.6, the annual general meeting. Carrie, can you read this for us, please? Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have your agenda. All right, Lizanna, please. 6.6. Lizanna?
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Oh, sorry. That the BIA Board of Management approve the annual general meeting date as November 14th, 2024, 6 p.m. at the Sanderson Center.
Okay, may I have a seconder? And Ashish, thank you. Any discussion about the AGM? Time and place?
All in favor?
Okay, seeing none, may I call the vote? All in favor? Looks like we're unanimous this time. Thank you. Okay. And 6.7, Immigrant Memories of Brantford recommendation from the Executive Committee. I'm sorry, Lizanna, can I call on you once again?
Yes. That the BIA Board of Management approve $500 sponsorship for the Immigrant Memories of Brantford Armenian Committee event. Funds to be taken from events.
Okay, I have a seconder. Carrie, all right. Any discussion? Go ahead, Annette.
Who is the seconder?
Carrie. So,
Okay.
all right. Any discussion? Go ahead, Sean.
Just wondering what the event is. Like what yeah.
I think
And
it was
they
included in
just-
your package
Was it?
under sponsorship. Maybe Annette has it at hand a little closer than we have. I have it here.
This is
Okay.
a yearly event that the Brant Theater Workshops puts on. They've done the Chinese community, the Jewish community. This year's the Armenian community. Their overall budget is $36,000. They were asking for $1,500 from the BIA, and the executive is suggesting $500, which is the same amount we've given to in previous years. The event features a ribbon cutting on the newly curated exhibit at the museum, a downtown historical walk, Armenian music, food, community members, and an original play in the Laurier Academic Center at 150 Deluzzi Street.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? All right, looks like that was unanimous. Thank you. All right, and just to finish off this section, 6.2, working group meeting updates. Lizanna, do we have any updates from the parking committee?
Yes. We had an executive tour of the parkade, and I believe it was rather unanimous of those that were there that the stairwells really need to be cleaned up. I had a thought, there's urine and feces, there's everything in there after people also do drugs, whatever, but it needs to be cleaned up. The city wants merchants to clean up their graffiti on the doors, on the windows, whatever, which I hope we do. And I think it's really good for downtown, but they have to have an example, the city, to clean up their parkade to encourage other people, merchants downtown, to keep it clean. So I think they need to be an example. The other thing, when it comes to cost, the city quite often will say, well, that costs money. The city has trucks with water in it, high pressure. Those could be washed at least once a week. I believe there's 6 or 7 stairways. And so that's something that I would really like to see an example set there. It was also mentioned about Colburn Street being like a speedway, and probably Deluzzi, but we don't always get to see that on Colburn Street. So is there something that we would like to see? White lines, something to slow down traffic, especially at Bain Street, where seniors and students and city workers quite often have to cross there. So that's something as well that has been mentioned. I have more information that I'd like to work on as a follow-up to the executive meeting, but I'd like to present it at next month's board meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lizanna. Any further comments on this from the parking committee? I have one comment because we did take a tour. I had to leave a stairwell because I was actually physically going to be ill.
I asked you if you wanted to see more.
Nope, didn't need to see any more. And I also noticed when we were walking around that if graffiti is going to be covered up, that I suggest that if it's a white wall, that white paint be used instead of gray. And if it's a gray wall, I'd suggest that gray paint be used instead of white, especially on that walkway at the top of the stairs, because we look like we're patchwork, but it isn't really pretty. And I just think we need to find those different colors so we can cover it up with the same color. Just note to city, if I may. Okay, Councillor Samuel, you had a.
Yeah, so I was just gonna comment that I'm taking note of these concerns. I am on the parking committee as well, but I just, to my understanding, the tour that I had previously is there is a lot of cleaning going into the stairwells and stuff like that, but I understand that it's not looking like it's an ongoing concern, and so I'll bring that up again to just see if there's something more that we can be doing to keep up with it better. But I do know that the parking garage itself and the stairwells are already getting quite a bit of cleaning. At least that's what the last update that I had. And I'll also mention the piece about the covering up of the graffiti as well. But I've made note of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, you had a comment? You had your hand up?
Yes, I would just like to add
No,
to.
I'm sorry, Lizanna. I'm sorry
Oh,
to
sorry.
interrupt. Dave, did you have your hand up? Okay, and go ahead, Lizanna.
I just wanted to comment to Sandy there that the cost would not be a lot. I just want to repeat that. I know they mentioned to paint it would be very costly and a big major job. However, I agree with the painting the same color, but the smell in that would not be costly if the trucks would wash that at least once a week.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no further comments, we'll go down to our update from the beautification committee. Sean?
And we actually have an update. So after finally getting a answer on insurance that we've been looking for from the city for quite some time, we got that and seem to have decided on a design for vinyl on storefront windows and starting at, what did we say, 88 Colburn Street? You know, as long as we get permission from the building owner and that type of thing. But we have a quote and the question on insurance, and I think we can move ahead on that and starting to make Colburn Street, at least the businesses, look a little nicer that are empty.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. All right, finished with that. Annette, where do you suggest we go next on the agenda? Only because I know that Mayor Davis had to leave early. Mayor Davis, do you want to do your update really
Yeah,
quick now?
I got to leave now. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But
all right.
but
well,
Mandy can do that. I can just
right.
tell you briefly. Actually, a couple things. I've got about 2 minutes. I've been sitting here listening. I don't always talk. Sometimes that's good to have your mayor just listen and not be talking all the time. But anyways, I just sent an email to staff about the concerns expressed regarding the garage. And yeah, there is a refresh of the garage that occurs in the fall every year, especially in advance of the Bulldog games, because there will be free parking in the garage again during the Bulldog games. So I passed that message on to staff already as I was sitting here typing away. And I'm sure Councilor Samuel, as our downtown ambassador, will do the follow through as he does so well. A couple things that may be of interest that I certainly want Councillor Samuel to also do a supplemental, because I'm sure there'll be some things I'll miss. We do have the Lucy Marco. That's our newest housing development in the downtown. That's the Lucy Marco, the old Y building. And half of it the city bought from Laurier about a year and a half ago. And it's now been, the renovations are almost complete. And the building will be occupied, the 41 units, through the month of October. There'll be an official opening probably October 9th. And that will be, some of the people that are on the street will be coming into that building, and also many people that are on the waiting list, and some with some other organizations as well, including STORE. We have the first Bulldog game coming up September 28th. And as I said, I hope the garage is, there's a refresh the garage before that date, because we try and use the Bulldog games as a way to market the use of the parking garage. And the parking garage will be free during games. We also expect to hear in October from staff in the group that's been working on the Sports and Entertainment Center to provide us with a report as to potential partnerships with companies that operate arenas, and also those that build and develop sports and entertainment centers. Then after that, if the city council decides to continue, there will be intense negotiations with whomever council selects as the most likely potential partner. The Colburn and Dalhousie Street rebuild that's been planned now for 5-6 years, it will begin next summer, and it will likely start down at Brant Ave, and that will include a redesign of that, of the road adjacent to the Armory to facilitate the flow of traffic. The downtown, from the Brantford Police Services Board that Councillor Sam and I both sit on, I've been sitting on the board now for this month and will continue. A couple of things that would be of interest: the Downtown Beat Patrol, Acting Chief Jason Saunders confirmed that the commitment remains strong, but there will be a change in the composition. There will be a sworn constable on the street with the special constables. That's due to a change in the Community and Policing Services Act that was passed in the spring. We asked at the Brantford Police Services Board that we receive monthly data confirming the number of hours the Downtown Beat Patrol is in the downtown. I'm concerned that we don't repeat what we saw 6 years ago, which something similar happened, and before you knew it, there was no Downtown Beat Patrol. So I can assure you that Councillor Samuel and I are going to be watching that. Also of interest, at the Brantford Police Services Board, the senior leadership presented a policy regarding open drug use. And I've just sent this morning that policy to Annette and Barbara. You can distribute it to the members. It was a part of the public portion of the meeting. That policy was approved by the Brantford Police Services Board. I spoke in favor of it, as did Councillor Samuel. And in particular, I did not want to see people being arrested because that's not really very effective. But they do have the ability to seize and confiscate illicit drugs. And I thought that my opinion was they should focus on that. As other communities, especially in Lethbridge, they've done something similar, and evidently it's had a very beneficial impact on their downtown. But it's up to the management, the chief and the deputy chief, how they actually implement that policy. But I thought members should be aware of what the policy says, and I'm assuming in that you'll distribute it. And if you have any concerns about how you see that policy being implemented by the service, certainly you should express your views and opinions to the leadership of the service, because they're the ones that decide how to implement it, not the politicians or the board. Also this winter, you probably saw that the city is has put out an RFP for a winter shelter. We do want to have a winter shelter with a warming component this year, so we're waiting for various submissions from probably the usual providers, but there may be some that haven't done this before in the past in our city, like Indwell. We'll see. And we also have a contingency plan in the event that we don't have any bids, but we're hoping we will from at least one of our providers. And then, of course, the fire at Rosewood, that very disruptive. I hope to get a briefing later this morning what's happening. But certainly I can assure you that city staff are working very cooperatively with Rosewood. There's a possibility of residents going back to Rosewood with catering being done, or it may be that they have to be relocated. All that's a work in process. I think that's pretty much it. Those are my highlights. I think of issues that I suspect would be of interest to the members of the BIA.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Do you have a moment for questions if there are any, or do you have to go?
Sure, why not?
Okay, floor is open. Look at that. Nothing.
Oh, one last thing I should say that so I'm a member of the Ontario Big City Mayors Caucus. That's the mayors of the 29 largest cities in Ontario, those that have a population of more than 100,000. And I was asked in August to prepare a resolution dealing with issues like upgrading the Mental Health Act, to strengthen community treatment orders and review the mandatory treatment provisions. Also, strengthening the Petty Trespass Act to deal with repetitive trespass. Also, asking the court, the province to consider intervening in various court decisions that I believe are unduly restricting the ability of municipalities to deal with homelessness and encampments, where we have judges using the Charter of Rights, basically legislating and making public policy. A couple of other provisions that I'm hoping the OBCM, the majority of the members, will support and will assist in advocating to the province to give us, municipalities and police services, some additional tools to deal with encampments and homelessness. And also to create a pathway, a better pathway for treatment for those who have addiction issues. The problem as I see it right now is there really are no effective pathways to treatment. It just seems to be a focus on harm reduction, which frankly, in many ways is just palliative care. So I'm sure there'll be some controversy, and it'll create, I'm sure, an interesting discussion. But I hope the OBCM will have an impact on some of the provincial decision-making that will assist those who are on the front line, police and municipal services, and those who provide other social services to assist in dealing with the issues that every city faces, including Brantford. That's it.
Thank you.
That was my short 2-minute, but actually turned into 10
All right. Well, thank you very much. I believe Ed has a question.
With the construction that will be happening next year, next summer, I know the two-way streets have been brought up before, but I feel like with the one-way streets in downtown, a lot of businesses will be shuttered with the construction happening. Is there any way to implement two-way streets, either permanently or at least temporarily while that's being done?
Short answer, Ed, is no. And the reason for that is because the streets will have to become a bit narrower with bike lanes and drop-off points. But the biggest problem is our downtown that was basically laid out 180 years ago does not have laneways in a lot of areas. And so what happens is a lot of the deliveries take place from the street. And if you have a two-way street, the only place many times the delivery trucks can park is in the travel lanes, and they block and obstruct traffic. It'll also create a traffic nightmare on Clarence Street and also on Brant Ave. So it's been looked at many times. I agree with you that two-way streets provide a more, let's say, pleasant environment or aesthetic for a downtown, but given the outline and the way our downtown was set out and designed, it's not possible and will not be done.
Okay.
But I understand your concern. I'd prefer to have two-way streets. We just can't do it.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Davis. All right, we're just going to move ahead because I know Sergeant Ballone has been sitting here and patiently listening to us. And
what about Councillor Samwell? Maybe I missed something.
Well, I was going to give her an opportunity after surgery, after
Okay,
John.
I
can
have to
stay till
go.
the end, so that's.
Have a great weekend. There's lots of things happening in the city. Hope you partake some in the downtown and elsewhere, particularly around Glenhurst and the trail from Hardy Road down to Glenhurst. It's a beautiful art festival occurring at Glenhurst and also in the trail, and I highly recommend you partake. That's Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Sergeant Below.
Okay, good to see everybody. It's been a little bit, I missed the last meeting, so I kind of lost my thumb on the pulse of the downtown, at least from the business owners, but I'm happy to be back. I'm going to be as brief as I possibly can, just in case there's any questions that come up after I have my little talk. Okay, so when it comes to my beat team, I've actually had 2 sworn officers added to the complement, so now I have with the 3 teams. Now there's 1 sworn officer capable of quite a bit more and deeper investigations with every team. So again, the coverage that we have downtown goes from 7:30 in the morning to 11 p.m. at night. That's the time frame that we work with, where you have the enhanced coverage provided by my downtown teams. Let's see, beginning of September, we had school back in, and we were sweeping through the downtown, taking care of random garbage, moving people along, making things a little bit more enticing for all the students returning. I don't want anybody or any of those students to think the behaviors that they get to see on the streets of downtown Brantford is normal. I do appreciate them calling and complaining and bringing things to my attention. So that's important. One thing I am still trying to work on is having a direct line to city works people where I can actually call it, because a lot of the times I find abandoned shopping carts, random garbage, and again, going to the beautification of the downtown. Sure, I can bring that immediately to somebody's attention to have it removed. I'll even stand by if somebody is going to be coming by in, say, 10, 15 minutes to get those things. But that was one of those big things on the first day of school. I actually swept through the downtown. I would go up to the small groups of homeless and addicted persons. I would ask them, whose shopping cart is this? Whose property is this? And if they said, no, I have no idea whose it is, well, we don't permit those things just to be sitting around in our parks and our downtown streets. So I bring them to the curb. I would end up having to call through to City Hall, go through that little waiting process as you kind of go through the automated directory, then speak to the attendant, and then request for somebody to come by. But then by the time somebody does come by, I'm thinking more like 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. Other homeless have now come to that shopping cart, boxes, all the other stuff that I brought to the curb, and then look for stuff that they might have, and then it starts moving again. So the thing is that an immediate response would help me clean up the downtown, literally. Or even though that garbage cleanup isn't exactly my specialty. Let's see, parking garage. I empathize with everybody that has already put in input on the parking garage. I know there are things that are not quite right. I try, and your city is working for you on this one. I can give you a little bit of insight as to how this happens. So there is one particular fellow who, and speaking to this particular case, because with me going around and troubleshooting, I have to have a little bit of a larger lens. So it's not just one incident. This fellow has been, well, I think so far this year, there's 175 contacts. That's pretty much every day, but it happens more in bursts. He defecates all over himself daily. Whenever we have contact with him, he goes into the stairwells. His skin is somewhat rotting all over his legs. He bounces from within the parking garage to the 50 Market Street South, and then back into the farmer's market repeatedly. And obviously that prevents any user of the parking garage to have, I think the wording under the criminal code is lawful use and enjoyment of property. So I've tried almost everything. So because I want our discipline, I guess, or behavior modification to be progressive, what we've done is we've tried warning this fellow, and that was pretty much all last year. And then normal tickets. We call them part one. So this is what you would get when you are speeding, a ticket from an officer. But of course, these tickets will never be paid because he's an addicted and homeless person. So then we've tried to advance it to part threes. And part threes are a summons to the provincial court, except just this morning, as I sat down on my computer, I got notices that some of these charges were already dumped by the provincial prosecutor. Now, discretion is a big thing when it comes to policing. We have discretion on whether we do lay charges or how we deal with situations, just as the provincial prosecutor does and the federal prosecutor does in criminal court. But it's very frustrating that as I am trying to progressively draw this person into court, and to have this guy who is regularly covered in feces and hanging out in the stairwells of the parking garage, I can't alter his behavior because there's no penalty. And when I actually am trying to summons him to court, right, because I'm confident that would have significant impact if I was to have my teams on the very morning of court go and find him, and then when his court time comes up, we'll offer to drive him and take him right into the courtroom. So that way, the impact of what he's doing to the parking garage is smelled inside the courtroom. But it becomes an impossibility if those charges are dropped. So I'm going to be further investigating that because as much as I want to alter some of these behaviors, if the person I'm trying to alter sees that my attempts are failing, they learn that there's nothing we can do to them. So that's ongoing. I think the last meeting I attended, it was brought to my attention, 2 businesses downtown, Amsterdam 2, and then Afters. I just wanted to let you guys know that we're currently investigating that and some of the problems that are stemming from unlicensed businesses. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, and going back to the parking garage, I work very closely with Dave Weidrich and Brandon Partridge in charge of city security, and they're doing a great job. We're trying absolutely everything to make that a better place. It's just that there's we're hitting a little bit of a ceiling at the moment. I am anxiously looking forward to the impact Lucy Marco will have once it opens. Hopefully it will solve our wandering problem. I think I actually heard that there was a fire at Rosewood 2 days ago, so I think that a lot of the people that would normally be housed there might be put elsewhere. So that's going to have a significant impact probably over the next 2 months until the renovations are done. And I think that's all for my update, so I can answer any other questions you guys might have.
Okay, a quick round of questions. Councillor Sama.
So my question is more really a comment, just letting you know that I'm going to follow up on that direct line for you to Works. So I've noted that for follow-up for me.
Perfect.
Lizanna?
I have a question, and I don't know what can be done about it. I've already discussed this with John, actually. We had a break-in a couple weeks ago, and the door was open for 5 hours. Anyone could have come in and out, whatever. A lot was taken, a lot was damaged. Now, as you just said, John, the special constables are on from 7:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's usually when houses are broken into because people go to work. Nights, stores are broken into. And that particular week, many stores were broken into with damage, very, very bad, with big windows, doors, you name it. I want to know what can be done. I know there's not enough special constables, perhaps, but there is really no one covering downtown from 11 p.m. to 7:30 in the morning, and that's when all the break-ins are. So what is the answer to that? And I've also been told that, okay, the regular police are responsible, I guess, for that. However, 5 hours, was there not one police car going by that could have noticed glass all over and a broken window? So I'm really concerned as a merchant downtown, and I'm not the only one because I've spoken to the ones that were broken into. So what is going to be the answer to protect us as merchants from what happened?
Okay, unfortunately, there's no easy answer to that. It just, my team is an enhancement to the downtown. We try to give you or deliver more service as opposed to what the rest of the city gets. What the rest of the city gets is just the regular patrol division. Now, to understand what the rest of the city gets, sure, we have other specialized units like our detectives and CASA and so many others. For these specialized services. But when it comes to reactive policing, you have your patrol division. Patrol division generally has, at any given time, 20 people. There are four platoons, and then there are about 20 people on each of those platoons. At any given time, then 5 of those will be off, whether it be on courses, updating education, special projects. So then you're down to 15. And then those 15, if somebody calls in sick, sometimes we call people in on overtime. So logistically, during the daytimes or evenings even, it would be 15 people patrolling the entire city. Now, then again, the city is broken down into 5 zones. So some of those officers don't even get to come into the downtown area. And I would say that's going to be, out of that 15, that's going to be probably about 10 of them. 5 of them will probably drift through on a priority call. And then when they're driving through, who knows what speed you're traveling at, because the nice thing about when you're walking on foot, you really do get to see everything. You can actually go into all these back alleys and really get a pulse on what's happening in the downtown. But when you're actually in a car, if you've ever tried to do it, and then just, well, you do have to focus on the road instead of kind of looking constantly side to side. You have to drop your speed from about 40 to 50 kilometers an hour down to about 15. Right, if you actually want to look at all of those businesses and windows as you're passing, because you have to drive safely from point A to point B. So unfortunately, I don't have a solution. Maybe this is be something that could be brought at a level higher than my own, maybe on the police services board for a little bit more. But I'm sorry, just during that period of time from 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., that's a little bit out of my zone of control. I'd like to be able to dictate how things are run at the police service, but that's not appropriate to my level at this point.
Thank you,
I
John.
just want to congratulate, though, you are good, and I know that, and I know the constables are doing everything they can. That wasn't my intention to say that you don't, because I really appreciate it. I just want to know if there was something else that could cover
Thank you.
those hours.
Thank you, Lizanna. Are there any other first-time questions? Go ahead, Sandra.
As far as, and this one's also to Rosanna, and are your alarms going off that they would classify under that, like emergency response when there's these break-ins?
Did you hear that, John?
No,
Oh,
and
sorry.
Rosanna, and like more Rosanna and the, or in general, like like when John said about, there are crews, like they'll respond if to an alarm, but I'm wondering, like, of all these businesses that were broken into, did they have alarms going off as well?
Okay, Sandra, we're just going to stay with questions for Sergeant Balone right now.
Okay, maybe this I could address to Sergeant Balone. If there is an alarm going off in downtown at one of the businesses, could I assume that the police car will respond to that quickly?
Okay, so that has everything to do with the way that you set it up with your alarm company. So, or how the system is set up. Some people have it go directly through to a call center. The call center then contacts, say, like the 3 key holders to see if they can respond. And then the 4th would be the police service. So the thing is, it really changes from point to point. What I would suggest to anybody, sure, if they have a glass break alarm on their windows, probably the best thing, and then a siren of some sort. So that way, just there's an audible alarm. Whenever there's an audible alarm, extremely effective, because then regular citizens, essentially, when they pass by, and there are people downtown at all hours of the day, they then call the police service saying that they're hearing alarms, specifically to Lizana. I'm sure that somebody at the Beckett building would have said that they hear an audible alarm and would have called the police service, and then we would respond a little bit more with direction as opposed to just roaming without it. So yes, we do respond to alarms a lot.
Okay.
Do you guys
Ed,
work with,
Ed, go
sorry.
ahead.
Do you guys work with private security systems, like private security agencies and stuff like that, who could possibly patrol at night or something like that as well? Like if the city is willing to invest in something like that?
No, it's just we receive calls from private security companies. You can hire a security guard or some sort. They contact us if they require assistance, but basically they are used for reporting, essentially, right? Reporting to the person that hires them, and then if something happens at a level higher than they can handle themselves, they call us.
Okay. Would that possibly be a solution, for example, for like the nighttime break-ins and stuff like that? Like if they were just more visibility, like more people responding or like telling you that there are issues going on, because obviously you guys can't spread yourself so thin.
Well, just of course that would be a solution, but the thing is, who handles the cost that's associated to that, right? Would it be a city cost? Would it be a cost to the police service? We're already strapped, honestly. We're trying to keep our costs down, if anything. So who would pay for the security guard?
How much is it for like I'm looking online actually. They're like security like Roombas kind of, that like robots that just go up and down the streets and stuff like that, notifying of suspicious behavior and stuff. I don't know, it's just sounds wacky, but it's something that exists. Like
Thank you, Ed.
surveillance bots and drones.
Okay, thank you, Ed. All right. Any other first time questions? All right. All right. Second question. Seeing none. Okay. Thank you very much, John. We really appreciate your being here and the time that you spend on the street and your diligence in the downtown. You're number one.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Councillor Samwell, I'm going to come to you because I know that you had something else to offer for the meeting.
Okay, so that's quite simply, Sergeant Balone and the mayor have updated on a lot of the things that I also would have updated on, so I'll just be quick. So I wanted to mention that the review for the municipal or the municipal review that the DBBIA had requested, and I brought that to council, that resolution that had passed unanimously at the committee of the whole meeting, but we still have one final round at the city council meeting for it to be fully confirmed. But it was a unanimous vote, so I don't think we should have any problem at council, but just to put that out there, that went well, and I appreciate that both Barbara and Annette were there to speak to that. I think that helped a lot. I wanted to mention that the signage that talks about evening and weekends at the parking garage, they did put a sign out front, which was very small and very hard to read. And I almost didn't even see it, honestly, until my husband pointed it out. So I've requested that they change that a little bit so that it's more easy to read and notice, because it's kind of, it almost doesn't get noticed, I would say. I don't know, have any of you even seen it? Oh, you can, not back and forth, sorry, I apologize. So that's something that I'm looking into. I've also put out the idea that I'd heard from folks, that the idea of touchdown space for Brantford Police downtown specials to be in the parking garage and have an office in there. And so that was well received. I'm not sure when we'll see some movement with that, but at least the comments that I got back when I spoke to the chief was that he seemed very positive about the idea as well. So I'm hoping to see some movement with that, because I just think that will add to this, just the safety of the parking garage, just them being there and going through all the time and doing their regular business. So and then for the Lucy Marco place, I also was part of that tour, and I wanted just to comment that It is a very bright and beautiful place, and that the folks that are going to be moving in there are already on the city's by name list, so the tenants are already been identified, which should really be helpful because it's going to go to the folks that are most in need. So I think that that's going to be great. As far as the downtown, I think that we have some other folks on here that would also be very good at updating on that, but so we have Lindsay, and I noticed Gagan was on here as well. So if there's any speaking to the construction or those kinds of pieces, I'll leave that for them. And I think those are the main things for me for today, because everybody else, like I said, the mayor covered a lot of what it was, but I'm happy to take any questions on anything. I don't have a lot more to add at this point.
Thank you, Councillor Samwell. We always appreciate your updates and your support. Thank you. All right, we've come to our next one where Gagan, I'm going to ask you to introduce Lindsay to us.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. There's a lot of new faces here that I don't recognize. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Gagan Batra. I've been leading the downtown project and the city side. I work in public works. Currently the manager of business support and sustainability, and I've been on this project since about 2020, so very excited with the mayor's update and Councillor Samwell's updates that we're going to be seeing construction very soon. I'll be happy to take any questions and I can provide a quick update, but before that, I wanted to introduce our newest staff who just started about 2 weeks ago, and she's already shown that she's a great asset to have to the team. So Lindsay Webster is on this call and she can introduce herself as well, but she has a lot of great experience working with downtown BIAs, a ton of experience working directly with businesses. Her role specifically is Downtown Revitalization Ambassador. It was a role that was specifically asked for and approved for the purpose of supporting businesses through the transition period as we move from design into construction, and to provide that kind of conduit for the businesses to feed information, comments, feedback to the city as we move forward. So Lindsay will be a great resource for all of the executive team and the businesses moving forward. And I'm not sure if anyone's seen her walking around the downtown already, but she's already been doing a lot of site visits. And she's a Brantford native, so she has a lot of great experience in the downtown. So Lindsay, if you want to maybe introduce yourself, then I can give a project update after that.
Go ahead, Lindsay. Welcome.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for the intro into the role. So I'm still doing quite a bit of learning with the downtown as much as possible. I do have the advantage, of course, of having grown up in Brantford. So I'm coming most recently from a role with my Main Street. As Gagan mentioned, I have quite a bit of experience working downtown businesses and downtown placemaking. I was at the Canadian Urban Institute directing the My Main Street program for 4 years. And when I saw this position come available, it was a great opportunity for me to come home and bring some of those skills and that experience to my hometown of Brantford. So I am really excited to be back. My family has been here for a really long time. I'm sure when I meet you, if I haven't already, that we're going to make some connections, people that we know. If you've ever been to the Twin Valley Zoo, which I'm going to bet that most of you have, my family owns and operates that. So that's my big claim to fame as my Brantford roots go. But yeah, I'm very excited to be here. I've popped my email in the chat there, so do feel free to reach out at any time. I'd love to grab coffee. I'd love to hear about your concerns. I'd love to talk about the project. But bear in mind that being 2 weeks in means that I might have to go get the information that you want and come back to you, but I will do that. So one exciting thing that I will share is that we will be beginning our office hours in City Hall on Tuesdays starting October 1st. So weekly, every Tuesday, I will be there from 6 to 7 for drop-ins. I know that during the business hours, it's kind of difficult to step away from your businesses. So we wanted to just offer that sort of outside of traditional hours. And I would be thrilled to have some folks come and chat with me about the project. So thank you for having me. I look forward to working with you all to make sure that this is the least disruptive as possible. and that we come out with a result that is positive for everybody. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lucy. And just for a quick project update, Lindsay will be coming to the meetings going forward. So if there's any questions specifically from you guys, just feel free to ask Lindsay. Feel free to email us at any time. We can go back and get the answers. We started design earlier this year in January, and we're about, I'd say 30 to 40% of the way through the design. And we're waiting right now for the design consultant to prepare a 50% package for us, which we can then have a meeting with the BIA executive, share the information of where we're at. Right now, the main focus has been figuring out the cross section. And for those who are familiar with this project, it's a full corridor reconstruction, meaning that a majority of the work is underground. So that's what we've been working on right now, trying to realign the piping underground, realigning the water mains, the sewer, sanitary, all of that stuff. And once that's done, we'll be able to focus a little bit more on the above ground. So we're not there right now. We are looking at configuration of the streets. Not much is changing in terms of pedestrian crossings, where they are, that type of thing. However, somebody had a concern about the Bain Street. I can't remember who it was on this call, but maybe it was Carrie, I can't remember. But we are looking at adding a pedestrian crossing at that Bain intersection in Colborne to facilitate that more safer crossing at that area. We're also looking at doing a lot of that traffic calming, which was also discussed on Colborne and Dalhousie Street. And we'll be able to achieve that by narrowing the roadways. So all of this stuff is being looked at. If there are concerns right now before we get to construction, just let the city know, and we can take that up with our traffic folks and see if there's something we can do in the interim. And just to the mayor's point with the update that he had provided, we are expecting construction to start next year, which is very exciting. Many years in the making with the design. It's a big design project. So we are going to be starting with Brant Avenue at Colborne and Dalhousie. That was what was approved by council earlier this year. So the intent of doing Brant Ave first is to make sure that before we get into the rest of the core, we can facilitate that improved traffic flow, so that traffic will be flowing better once we get to the construction of the core. And I know everybody's eager to hear about the timeline and construction phasing. We're not there right now. We're still trying to figure out what's the lowest point. And we're trying to phase it right now at the design stage. But once we do know, we will definitely share that information. Year one from 2025 to 26 will most likely just be Brant Ave and ICOM area, which once I have more information about the technical pieces, I can share that. But the intent, of course, is to reduce the disruption as much as possible and keep a lane open as much as possible, so we can still facilitate the smooth traffic flow. And after that, 2026, 27 is when we'll most likely be starting the side streets. Market is one of the ones we want to do first because it's one that will see immense improvement and be one of those place-making spaces, and also the side streets in between Colborne and Dalhousie. But again, once I have more information, I can share that, and I'm happy to take any questions as well.
Okay, Sean, go ahead.
Oh, Sean, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. So what you just said about the timeline means that we're looking at like Colborne and Dalhousie 27, 28.
Likely, yes. That's probably the soonest we'll be able to get to those. When we do construction, we have to start with the underground infrastructure that's the lowest first. So we're trying to figure out the water main that needs to be done first. And when we do the water main, we'll reconstruct the roadway too to minimize disruption. So that's all of our phasing is hinging on the underground infrastructure. So pretty much right now what we're seeing is ICOM Brant Ave has to be done first, and 26 Market is also one of the low points. Clarence is also one of the low points. So probably Clarence will be the first, where we start at Colborne and Dalhousie on the east side of the limit, and then we'll work our way in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, go ahead, Annette.
Will there be some kind of official update going out? I know that I have businesses considering signing leases, or I have new businesses opening up looking for information. If they know that this is Colburn and Deluzzi is being pushed off another year, I think they need to know that. So I wasn't sure if there would be something coming out from communications about this.
Yeah, well, we're working on a communication strategy right now. Lindsay just met with our comms folks last week. So once we get to the 50%, probably in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to, my idea is to share a map of the cross section, and then on the map, color coordinate kind of like which years what is going to be done, and then being able to zoom in and seeing exactly what's going to be able to be done, and where and when, and sharing that information with the businesses. But probably it'll be a couple of more weeks. I don't want to share information and then it ends up changing. So I just would like the design to be a little bit more finalized before I share that. But the plan is to make all that information available. I'm writing a council memo probably in the next month or so as well, once that map can be finalized, sharing with council, and then that will go out to the community as well. So short answer, yes. Long answer, it might be a couple of weeks before we can start sharing that info, until we have the finalized dates and
Thank you, Gagan, and thank you, Lindsay. Lindsay, I hope that you find attending our meetings interesting, because there's a lot going on downtown that you may not be aware of, and so it helps to add to the whole picture of the downtown for you. And we certainly appreciate your input and your attendance. Look forward to seeing you again next month. Good. Okay. We're on to 7.3, and that's our external committee updates. Carrie, do you have anything from economic development? Oh, no. Okay. Sandra, anything from Brantford Heritage?
No, nothing new from last month.
Okay. Annette, Chamber? Nothing. And I have nothing from the Downtown Action Committee because I'm not on it anymore. Annette is. Okay. All
Barbara,
right.
I just wanted to say we haven't had an economic development meeting in months, so that's why there's no update.
Right. Okay. So we'll look forward to their first meeting. Right. Yeah. All right. We have no notices of motion, and our next meeting will be, Annette, what's the date of our next meeting? Sorry.
October 17th.
October 17th. We've moved to Thursdays. The third Thursday of the month for for board meetings. Okay. Motion to adjourn. Sandra, seconded by Carrie. All in favor? Thanks, everyone. Great meeting. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, Kurt. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.